So as I said in my intro video, I love 3 different things: animal movements, pull-ups, and skipping, as you can see. Today's video is going to be about animal movements, okay? If you go into the gym now and you look around, do you see many people doing it? Probably not. It's not a very common thing to do. However, it's incredibly important in my opinion. I love them. I think it's completely stabilizing for the body, a good challenge, and they never get easy because you're on all fours crawling, something we haven't done since infancy. It's incredibly difficult for our bodies. This is why I like them so much. So in this video, I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of different animal movements, and I would suggest taking a couple of them out, trying them, and seeing what you think. Recently in the gym, a guy walked up to me as I was doing them and said, "I could never do that." It's seen as something that's very difficult, I understand, but it's not as difficult as you believe if you just put your mind to it and do it. I had a client a couple weeks ago who really struggled in his first few months of training with shoulder taps, going into plank position, going from side to side like this, okay? Going from one side to the other side on all fours was incredibly challenging for him. So we threw away the shoulder taps and I had him doing just Spider-Man's inchworms in his sessions. We came back to shoulder taps a couple of months later. Complete transformation. It's like he's been doing shoulder taps for years. Try a couple. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And tell me what you think. Which one did you like? Which one did you not like? Give it a try. Let's begin with one of my favorite exercises, crawl outs. In this exercise, you would begin by standing. I suggest having your legs a little wider than shoulder width apart. That way you can get down onto all fours without any problems and by keeping your legs straight. In this position, you would lower down into a crawl, go into a plank position. When you get to the plank position, stop there. Stay stationary for about 2 seconds and then push yourself back up to standing with your legs remaining straight. This is the most difficult part. A lot of people bend at the knees. If you want to get the full benefit of the movement, I would suggest keeping your legs as straight as possible. To move forward though, in this particular crawl out, you would need to take one large step. Try not to cheat by taking a bunch more and then begin again. Next up is inchworms. This is a variation of the crawl out. The difference being that you aren't coming up off the ground. So in a crawl out, you're going to see yourself coming up to standing, stepping forward in the beginning again. In an inchworm, hence the name inchworms, you're going to be staying again in the standing position, lowering yourself down into that plank position, and then you're going to be keeping your body in what I like to describe as a V. So bringing your legs in as close as you can without bending at the knees, unless you're tall, of course. I am 5'0". And then lowering yourself back again. Again, key point here to make. Make sure that you're not moving as the legs come forward. You only move when your body is in a V, and then you lower yourself down again into that plank position. One of the most difficult ones I teach, the Spider-Mans. Why is it difficult? Because it requires coordination. That means the body has to move together in unison to make this one work. So this one begins by you on all fours on the ground, no bum in the air, nothing up in the air. You want to be as low to the ground as possible. One knee will be touching an elbow, the other leg will be lengthened with that arm free. This is important to note. The arm that's free stays, the arm that's touching your knee moves. That way, the arm that's free can meet the knee that's touching the opposite arm. This allows you to move forward in the Spider-Man movement as low to the ground as possible. The bear crawl comes in many variations. This one you might have not seen before. This one is with your legs extended. I highly suggest this one for people who have a really hard time lowering their body to the ground, potentially with having a bit more weight on the midsection. This allows you to keep your legs straight in the air. That means your butt's in the air and your shoulders will be driving forward, bringing your body forward in that movement. I would suggest trying this one, try the other one, see which one feels most comfortable for you. This bear crawl is probably considered the most common bear crawl. This is having yourself on all fours, knees as close to the ground as possible, arms driving forward in a bear crawl plank position. I'm going to be going forward in this crawl, and then I'm going to be challenging myself by going backwards, trying to maintain that same position. This might be considered a little bit more difficult than the legs extended, but it's also a great variation to try. As I said, it's going to get harder. This bear crawl is a variation to make it a little bit more difficult if you want to challenge. This is a bear crawl with a side kick. So I'm going to bear crawl for about 4 paces, your choice how far you want to go. And I'm going to drop my hip to one side, kick that leg out, the other leg is bent, return to the bear crawl position, drop my other hip to the ground and kick in the other direction. I repeat this one distance there and one distance back. Just to make it clear, you can probably do this bear crawl kick with the legs extended if you do prefer to try this, but it will be a little bit more difficult lowering that hip to the ground from that extended leg position and then going back into the kicks. So that's always something you can try. Again, have fun with it. Animal crawls are supposed to be fun. It's going to get that much harder now. I'm going to incorporate some weights for this next bear crawl. I'm going to be crawling forward in the bear crawl with the weight and then crawling backwards in the bear crawl with weight. In the first position, I'm going to be crawling forward, bringing that weight into the middle of my body and pulling it forward, or pushing it forward, as you might say, and having it follow along with me as I go in that first movement. When I get to the top of the room, as you see, I'm going to bring that weight, I'm going to pull it backwards as I go bear crawl backwards. So this is a really fun thing to try, a little bit of an adaptation to a bear crawl. You can easily use a sandbag, you can roll the ball, you can use a kettlebell, anything handy at home that you can use. Side plank crawls, exactly what it sounds, but in a bear crawl position. Be positioning yourself to the side. You're going to be moving in unison. The legs are going to have to try and coordinate with the arms to move in a sideways movement. The key things of this exercise are: make sure your core stays engaged and strong, your butt is down and lowered, and you're not swaying from side to side, and knees will be very, very close to the ground. This is basically a plank moving sideways. Gorilla hops, they're a bit of a funny one, aren't they? I'm not sure if I particularly love the name, but it's a great exercise. So you're going to go onto all fours, opening up those hips, and you're going to have your hands flatten the ground. You're going to push into the ground and jump forward in that position. It's going to be a tough one for those who have a limited hip mobility, but also a great one to try if you do have it, because you'll see over time, especially if you record yourself, if you're able to get as low as you can, and you'll see how low you get over time. As you know, I like to shake things up a bit, so we're going to go sideways now. So gorilla hops to the side. So again, crouching down into that position, opening up your hips, planting your hands on the ground, sideways. So you're now going to be moving sideways in unison. Again, a really good idea for those who have limited hip mobility. Allows you to try and get that movement as low as you can to the ground. If you find initially in the beginning you're not able to get pretty low, that's okay. Over time you will. We're going to go even harder now. So we're going to gorilla walks. That means you're going as low to the ground as possible. Again, opening up those hips. You're going to be walking forward. So it is a bit of a struggle between balancing yourself in that position and keeping your hips open in that position, because for many, hip mobility is difficult. So you might find this a bit of a challenge. You're not going to be hopping this time. You're going to be walking forward. So try this out for size, see how it feels. And again, record yourself. The more you understand your body and its limitations, the better, because you'll definitely see progress over time if you continue with this. The walking plank. So this is exactly what it says. You're going into a plank position on your hands, of course. You're going to be moving forward. The key thing is the butt has to be down and engaged. The core has to be strong. The body will move very slowly. So you're not going fast in this exercise. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your support. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how you like this video so I can make more of them.